Myst, Might, Mayhem. By Han Jung-Wioya. Chapter 249. Demon. Part 1. All this old man can see from that person is a blood-stained throne. A blood-stained throne? A throne is a symbolic seat for monarchs like kings, emperors, or feudal lords, is it not? What does it mean for a human who embodies the very essence of a demon to be connected to a throne? No, to be exact, it was called a blood-stained throne. Blood-stained. The throne symbolizing the pinnacle stained with blood held great significance. After all, countless bloody struggles would have taken place to claim that seat. Though the time period remained vague, these words definitely narrowed down the scope. It's not that old man, Zhou. Although he completely degenerated, indulging in wine and women, how could that dying old man possibly fulfill her wish? In the first place, how could a mere human grant her desire? It was a mystery, but this man was practically a sage. He wouldn't speak nonsense. Kong sang. Let's hope your words prove true. With those words, the nine-tailed golden fox concealed herself through death and left the kingdom, as a long time passed. At first, she simply observed to find the human from the prophecy. However, such a person did not appear. Suspecting that he might have deceived her, she took out her anger on all sorts of Taoist priests. Then, she changed her mind. If she couldn't find him, she would create him herself. Thus, the nine-tailed golden fox altered her approach and playfully corrupted the beings called monarchs, one by one. This applied not only to the feudal lords of the Central Plains but also to all the nearby countries like Dongyi, Dongying, and Xizang. Nevertheless, none of them brought her what she desired. They merely degenerated and led their nations to ruin. A human who is the embodiment of a demon. Judging solely by this fellow's memories, he certainly comes close to evil or demonic. However, this guy had little to do with a throne. Then, is he simply an inherently wicked human? If she delved to the end of his memories, she might uncover the origins of his evil nature. The nine-tailed golden fox dove into the depths of Mok Jiangun's mind. Swish! Quite an intriguing fragment flowed in among the incoming pieces. Oh ho! Look at this. Was that raccoon bastard here? That unworthy brat who pompously called himself the Kingslayer or whatnot was causing a ruckus, but to think he was trapped here. But did this guy absorb the raccoon's demonic energy? Memory fragments are literally like shards. They appear disjointed, but it seems the raccoon had part of his demonic energy absorbed by this fellow. What's this? How did a human absorb the energy of a demon beast? No, an Imi Mang Niang? Come to think of it, as she delved deeper into his memories, this guy was even absorbing the energy of the dead. How is this possible? In the first place, a living being cannot coexist with the energy of the deceased. The more she explored his memories, the more astonishing things appeared one by one. Is this really a human? While puzzled, she went back a long way and saw Mok Jiangun's deceased grandfather. For the first time, she felt intense anger. This seemed to be the point where his suppressed evil erupted. However, since it was still repressed, she would need to examine earlier memory fragments to find the more fundamental part. Show me your origin. The nine-tailed golden fox delved into Mok Jiangun's memories. But while digging deeper, she encountered a colossal wall spanning the entire space within the darkness. Huh? The existence of such a wall within one's mind and memories signified that something was artificially blocking it. The nine-tailed golden fox grew intrigued upon seeing this. What could be the reason for sealing off his earlier memories? Whether he did it himself or it was a taboo imposed by someone else, she didn't know, but... Reveal yourself. The nine-tailed golden fox attempted to forcibly pierce through the wall of memories. For her, who had lived thousands of years, this was not a difficult task. Just as she was tearing down the wall of memories, at that moment. Ruhar! Right then, from within the cracking and crumbling wall of memories, an atrocious and utterly evil energy began to surge out. What's this? As she tried to breach the sealed memories, why was such a wicked energy gushing forth? Is this fellow truly human? This ferocious energy was attempting to block her from infiltrating his mind. It felt as if this existence was alive within him. All right. Let's see who prevails. The nine-tailed golden fox drew upon more of her demonic energy. If it could block her to this extent, there must be something it didn't want to be seen. Did it think it could stop her like this? Swoosh. Although it was within his mind, the nine-tailed golden fox manifested in her original form. Her appearance as a nine-tailed golden fox reaching 7 zhang in size was majestic, befitting a great spiritual beast bearing the titles of demon and king. As she opened her mouth in her true form, vast demonic energy gathered, forming an enormous sphere. Whoosh! It was dazzling enough to illuminate the darkness. Try to stop this. Boom! Kaboom! The sphere of demonic energy instantly collided with the wall of memories. Intense explosions erupted in succession as the wall, struck by the energy sphere, collapsed, creating a massive hole. Not missing this chance, the nine-tailed golden fox entered through the hole. A breach had been made in the blocked memories. Now she could see what memory fragments would be revealed. At that moment, a bizarre scene began to unfold within the incoming fragments. It was crack. The sight of an intact sky distorting. Through the crevices of the distorting fissures, a mass of black flames surged upward like erupting volcanic lava and plummeted to the ground. What the hell is this? Why does such a scene exist within a mere human's memories? Right then, another fragment flowed in. Swish! Within a vast pit, black flames were blazing fiercely, and someone was gazing at them with a face filled with awe, then promptly prostrated. That someone was none other than this fellow's murdered grandfather. Why was that old man showing such a reaction towards the black flames? As she wondered. What? The nine-tailed golden fox's golden pupils trembled violently. Within those black flames, a gaze was felt. It wasn't just flames? No, in the first place, the ominous and pure energy emanating from those black flames did not exist in the human world. No words like ferocious, vicious, or evil could define it. It was as if the very existence itself was. Flinch. Right at that moment. The gaze felt from the black flames directly met the nine-tailed golden fox's eyes. Huh? This was a memory. Yet, how could it be staring at her? She could be considered a third-party spirit merely observing the memories. As she found the situation incomprehensible and bizarre. Get out. A voice resounded within the nine-tailed golden fox. Simultaneously, the black flames suddenly spread in all directions, instantly engulfing the space filled with memory fragments within the darkness. Whoosh! At that instant, the nine-tailed golden fox couldn't hide her bewilderment. This heat should have been a memory fragment, but its intensity felt as if it had materialized. And the black flames were gradually encircling her. The nine-tailed golden fox spoke while gazing at them. Just what are you? How can an existence as foreign as you reside within a mere human? She believed this existence was not merely latent within his memories but actually alive within him. Otherwise, it couldn't have such an impact even on the spiritual realm. Her words were met with no response. Whoosh! The black flames simply kept devouring the space itself, as if trying to engulf even her. The nine-tailed golden fox then roared and unleashed her demonic energy. You think you can do anything to me? A dazzling golden demonic energy gushed out from her, who had transformed into her true form. That golden demonic energy collided with the black flames, clashing. Swoosh! Her golden demonic energy, which had reached its peak, forcefully pushed back the black flames that tried to devour her, exuding the majesty of a great spiritual beast known as one of the 6 demons. Although weakened by the seal, even the assassin king of the sea, the restraining badger celestial dog couldn't withstand her. Instead, she pushed back the black flames and tried to glimpse more of the memory fragments. You're just trapped within a human, yet you think you can challenge me. As the nine-tailed golden fox further intensified her demonic energy, the black flames fluctuated. The corners of her mouth in her true form curled up. Whatever was inside this bastard, did it think it could match her, who had accumulated demonic energy for thousands of years since ancient times? Reveal your identity right now. Thud. At that very moment, the nine-tailed golden fox's golden pupils trembled. This wasn't due to the battle unfolding within his mind. At some point, her consciousness had split in two, allowing her to simultaneously view the memories and reality. In reality, the nine-tailed golden fox had her hand placed on Mok Jayangun's head, maintaining the state of entering his mind. However, Mok Jayangun, who should have been unable to move with his mind suppressed, moved. He only moved once, but the stimulation there was so intense that her focus couldn't help but be divided. The nine-tailed golden fox looked at Mok Jayangun's face. This is... Mok Jayangun's dilated, hazy eyes had regained vitality. But along with that vitality, something had changed. His pupils had turned entirely black, resembling lustrous obsidian, and those eyes held a viciousness akin to the black flames. Is it you who were trapped within the wall of memories that have taken over that body? So, by stimulating the physical body in reality, you intend to drive me out. As if I would be so easily. Thud. Hack. At that moment, Mok Jayangun's lower body moved roughly. Simultaneously, the nine-tailed golden fox unknowingly let out a moan. The nine-tailed golden fox glared at Mok Jayangun with trembling breaths. You. Thud. Hyuk. With a single movement of Mok Jayangun's waist, her mind seemed to scatter from the excitement. Perhaps because of that, the force of the black flames, which had been pushed back by the golden demonic energy within his mind, suddenly intensified. The nine-tailed golden fox's golden pupils trembled. Her transformation technique had already been undone, reverting her to her original appearance, yet he was making such rough movements against her, indicating that it wasn't his original self. It was the ferocious and vicious self within those black flames. Thud. She tried to push Mok Jayangun's body away. Simply touching or doing something like that was one thing, but if he stimulated her so roughly, her mind would scatter in the power struggle with the black flames. Thud. Ack. At that instant, the nine-tailed golden fox's slender back arched like a bow. Her head tilted back, and her breathing grew ragged. What is this? Sizzle. Amidst the power struggle within his mind and the exciting stimulation, she had failed to notice that her demonic energy was being absorbed by Mok Jayangun's hand grasping her chest. Simultaneously, the black flames within his mind not only regained momentum but also expanded, pushing back the golden demonic energy. This is disadvantageous. With him pressuring her from three directions, mind, stimulation, and absorption, it would become difficult for her to confront him, no matter how powerful she was. The speed at which her demonic energy was being absorbed was also accelerating. In the end, she judged that it was impossible to immediately see his fundamental memories. Thus, swish. She withdrew the spiritual body that had assimilated into him. Then, she grabbed Mok Jayangun's cheeks and pulled him in for a kiss. Their tongues softly intertwined and tangled as her demonic energy flowed through Mok Jayangun's mouth, spreading to his head and entire body. With that sizzle, Mok Jayangun's eyes, which had turned black like obsidian, returned to normal. Mok Jayangun, who had regained his senses, furrowed his brows. After all, he had become one with the nine-tailed golden fox. He didn't expect to be kissing her as well. Thud. Mok Jayangun forcibly separated from her. She licked her lips as if savoring them, then grinned and spoke. Have you regained your senses, dear? Dear? We're already so passionately entangled, so it's okay to call you that, right? Or should I call you something else? Grip. Ignoring her words, Mok Jayangun tried to detach his body from hers. However, he couldn't do so because she was embracing him with her legs. He tried to draw upon his demonic energy, but she clung even tighter to him and whispered meaningfully into his ear. I thought about calling you Jong, but that doesn't suit you either. Mok Jayangun's eyes sharpened. Regardless, she hugged Mok Jayangun tightly and spoke. I'm not sure about the throne, but you might be the very human embodiment of a demon that I've been searching for. Ah. Yes. The title that truly suits you is none other than Demon. Chapter 250. Demon. Part 2. I'm not sure about the throne, but you might be the very human embodiment of a demon that I've been searching for. Ah. Yes. The title that truly suits you is none other than Demon. Demon. Mok Jayangan couldn't make sense of the nine-tailed golden fox's words. His focus was solely on the fact that she knew his real name, Zhang. What did she do? Even if his mind had been hazy, the chances of him uttering it himself were low. But if she mentioned Zhang, then... Did she see my memories? There was no other explanation. Meanwhile, the nine-tailed golden fox caressed Mok Jayangan's cheek and spoke. How is it? The title Demon sounds good, right? Just calling you Demon is a bit dull, so should I add something like a surname in front of it? Falling from the sky. Before she could finish her sentence, Mok Jayangan cut her off and asked. Did you look into my memories? Oh my. You're quick-witted. Well, not all of them, but I'd say a part of them. At her words, Mok Jayangan's eyes turned cold. He felt displeasure at the fact that she had pried into his memories, regardless of anything else. And judging by the current situation, she had forcibly engaged in relations with him. Or rather, they were still in the midst of it. Squeeze. The nine-tailed golden fox wrapped her legs tighter around him and spoke with a flushed face. Huh. Hey. Since we've already started, shouldn't we finish it? Mok Jayangan didn't respond to her words. At this rate, he would be dragged along by this fox demon's intentions, no matter what. Then, whether it turned out good or bad, he had to do something. Thus, Mok Jayangan tried to gather all the remaining demonic energy within his body to somehow resist. Mok Jayangan's eyes flickered with surprise. My demonic energy has recovered. No, it has increased. The demonic energy within his body had nearly doubled compared to its original amount. It was a phenomenon he couldn't comprehend at all. His injuries were quite severe, and he had even lost consciousness, so why had his demonic energy increased to this extent? But that wasn't the end of it. Moreover, a vast amount of demonic energy had been absorbed into his body. It was incomparably greater than what he had absorbed from the monstrous raccoon, the Kingslayer, and the purity of the demonic energy was exceptionally high. It's difficult to assimilate. The demonic energy was so immense that even if he tried to assimilate it, there would be excess remaining. Instead, continuously keeping it within his body might even become poisonous. The corners of Mok Jayangan's mouth twitched. In that case, there was a way to utilize this pure and vast demonic energy. Mok Jayangan then closed his eyes. At that moment, the nine-tailed golden fox spoke in a seductive and alluring voice. What? You don't like this form? Or do you want me to take on that vengeful spirit's appearance like before? Swish. As soon as those words ended, the nine-tailed golden fox swept her face with her hand and used her transformation technique. In an instant, her face changed to resemble Chong Ryong's. Mortal. Even her voice became identical. The nine-tailed golden fox, transformed into Chong Ryong, swayed her hips and whispered into Mok Jayangan's ear. Huh. Mortal, open your eyes. Flinch. At that moment, the nine-tailed golden fox's eyes turned sharp as she looked at Mok Jayangan's right hand. Crackle. Crunch. With Mok Jayangan's right hand as the center, his entire arm bulged with vast demonic energy, and his blood vessels protruded before turning pitch black. Seeing this scene, the nine-tailed golden fox inwardly felt it was absurd. This demonic energy. It was her own demonic energy. Although it had been absorbed by him, demonic energy was essentially like a deadly poison to humans, so she thought it would be difficult for him to immediately assimilate and use it. But he was using this demonic energy without assimilating it. Is this guy for real? He didn't seem human. Apart from the existence trapped within his mind, this body was definitely human. But she didn't expect something like this to be possible. The nine-tailed golden fox's gaze then shifted to Mok Jaeongun's neck. If she moved her tails and twisted his neck right away, she could dispose of him before he could even unleash the demonic energy. However, if this fellow was truly the human embodiment of a demon that Kong Sang had prophesied about, killing him would be no different from losing him before he could accomplish anything. Tisk. In the end, the nine-tailed golden fox released her legs that were wrapped around him and used her tail to grab Mok Jaeongun, throwing him towards the floor. Crash! Mok Jaeongun's body pierced through the floor and sank deep into it. Sigh. With the amount of demonic energy he had gathered now, he could inflict damage on her as well, so the only answer was to make him lose consciousness. The nine-tailed golden fox clicked her tongue as if she was disappointed. She thought she could finally satisfy her desires after a long time, but it seemed unlikely at the moment. Well, it doesn't matter. She could just keep him with her and entice him. If he was already wicked, there was no need to corrupt him further. Wouldn't it be perfect if she just made him hers? Just as she was thinking that. Pack. The nine-tailed golden fox hurriedly crossed four of her tails like a shield to block the front. At the same time, a black line brushed past, and then... kaboom! Ugh! The nine-tailed golden fox's body pierced through the ceiling of Prince Jeongjin's residence and soared upwards. Through the hole that was made, someone fell and landed on the floor of the residence. Tap. The one who landed was none other than Mok Jaeongun. Drip. Drip. Blood was flowing from his black and grotesquely transformed right arm. Mok Jaeongun looked at his right arm and exhaled roughly. Hue. As a side effect of amplifying the demonic energy absorbed from the nine-tailed golden fox using the reversing blood technique, the blood vessels in his right arm had ruptured. It had definitely exceeded the level he could handle without assimilation. However, although it was only for a single strike, he had used the nine-tailed golden fox's demonic energy itself to unify his sword energy, so its power was immeasurable. Mortal. At that moment, the translucent form of Chong Ryong approached Mok Jaeongun. Looking at his right arm, which was a bloody mess, she asked with concern. Are you all right? Well, I think I'll be fine, won't I? Where do you get such words from? Your hand and arm. Chong Ryong clicked her tongue as she looked at it. The tremendous demonic energy contained in Mok Jaeongun's previous strike was enough to astonish even her. It was probably the energy he had absorbed from the nine-tailed golden fox. Since he tried to handle such immense energy, even if only temporarily, it was only natural for his hand and arm to end up in this state. Mok Jaeongun approached Chong Ryong, disregarding his limp right arm. Then... swish! Chong Ryong turned her head with a perplexed expression. After all, Mok Jaeongun was currently naked. Moreover, his masculinity was still quite prominent, making it difficult for her to look at him directly. Why are you acting like this? You. Right now. Your state. Seeing Chong Ryong unable to form proper sentences, Mok Jaeongun finally recognized his own state. Ah. With that, Mok Jaeongun extended his left hand towards the left side of the residence. Several of Prince Jeongjin's outer garments were hanging there. There were no pants in sight, but he used the sleeves as a belt to cover his lower body. After confirming this with a glance, Chong Ryong turned her head halfway and spoke in a blunt tone. You're like a beast in heat. At those words, Mok Jaeongun closed his mouth. Normally, he would have answered without much thought, but the memory of engaging in relations with the nine-tailed golden fox, who had transformed into Chong Ryong, right in front of the real Chong Ryong, faintly resurfaced. Even though he had fallen victim to the nine-tailed golden fox's technique, thinking that he had done such a thing in front of the person involved made him feel strange. Could it be that Chong Ryong was also acting this way because of that? After remaining silent for a moment, Mok Jaeongun asked her. Are you displeased? Displeased? Yes. What would I be displeased about? I'm a dead spirit anyway. What concern is it of mine if you engage in relations or make a mess with any wench? Despite claiming to be unaffected, her voice had risen quite a bit. She even showed signs of stammering. At this, Mok Jayangan bluntly said, "Even so, that fox demon transformed into your appearance, making it seem like I did it with you. So I thought maybe." Enough. 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 Chong Ryong urged Mok Jayangan to stop speaking. She was already on the verge of going crazy with that scene constantly swirling in her mind. As she had just said, she kept reminding herself that she was already dead and that her only purpose remaining in this world was to resolve her lingering resentment. But her heart didn't quite agree with that. Damn it. Every time that scene came to mind, she couldn't help but be conscious of Mok Jayangan. Her reason understood that the nine-tailed golden fox had done it to disrupt Mok Jayangan's mind, but looking at it the other way around, it was like that. She had been watching him continuously, but he didn't treat women as women. So when he was said to have engaged with that third mortal of the Heaven and Earth Society's leader, Yu So-yen, who resembled her, she had only considered it as him using her. What the hell is this? But this time, the situation was a bit different. Why did he react only when she transformed into her appearance after enduring so well? Thinking about this, she couldn't help but be concerned, even while claiming to be a vengeful spirit. It was as if this mortal fellow. Could it be that he sees me as a woman? Chong Ryong, who had been clutching her head, glanced at Mok Jayangan. Even after what had just happened, this guy was looking at her with the same eyes as usual. Seeing this, she started to feel angry. Wasn't she making a fuss and being self-conscious all by herself? Her mood was becoming unstable and uncontrollable. Just then. Swish. At that moment, she felt a touch on her head. The only one who could directly make a spirit body feel a sensation was Mok Jayangan. The moment she felt Mok Jayangan's gentle touch, Chong Ryong's cheeks turned bright red despite being a spirit body, and she shouted in a flustered manner while covering her body. Don't touch me. What am I supposed to do if I don't touch you? What? At those words, Chong Ryong's eyes widened. What the hell was this guy saying now? Truly bewildered, Chong Ryong covered herself even more and backed away, saying, "Are you really a beast? Like a fox? No, a raccoon. Anyway, now that you've done it with that wicked beast, do you want to do it with a vengeful spirit too, regardless of whether they're dead or alive? You're so desperate to satisfy your desires. What are you talking about? What do you mean, what am I talking about? You, to me. If you stay in that state, your spirit body will scatter and disappear, won't it? Huh? I'm trying to share the demonic energy I've absorbed with you, but it seems like you've misunderstood something." At that moment, she couldn't hide her embarrassment. Mok Jayangan shrugged his shoulders at her and approached her, extending his hand and asking, "I should have asked beforehand. Is it okay if I transfer the demonic energy to you?" In response to Mok Jayangan's question, Chong Ryong quietly nodded her head without being able to meet his eyes. If her spirit body hadn't been weakened, she would have wanted to find a mouse hole and crawl into it right away. The corners of Mok Jayangan's mouth twitched as he watched her. Then, he placed his hand on her spirit body and tried to infuse the absorbed demonic energy. But at that very moment, tap. Someone gently descended through the ceiling. It was none other than the nine-tailed golden fox. Oh no! Mok Jayangan pushed Chong Ryong's spirit body behind him and drew upon his demonic energy. He had gathered that immense demonic energy into a single point and imbued it into his sword energy to launch an attack, but he didn't expect her to withstand it. She was almost unscathed. The only difference was that a part of one of her tails had been cut off. Even then, it was only the tip of her tail that had been sliced off. Just a part of her tail, huh? She was truly a being of a different caliber, befitting the title of one of the 6 demons and a great spiritual beast close to a divine beast. He wasn't a match for her from the beginning. As the atmosphere grew heavy and the tension reached its peak. Smack! The nine-tailed golden fox, who had a murderous expression on her face, casually tossed the severed part of her tail and opened her mouth. For a moment, I thought about just killing you, but let's stop here. Chapter 251. Demon. Part 3. Just a moment ago. Swoosh. A sharp sword strike that unified demonic energy and swordsmanship. The nine-tailed golden fox, pushed back by it, was forced up to a height of nearly 100 jang. The sword energy itself was much sharper than before, but with her own demonic energy directly added to it, its power was so strong that she had to use 4 tails simultaneously to counter it. Swish. Pushed back into the air like that, she stopped midway. As if she had wings, she floated and clicked her tongue in disbelief. Using my demonic energy to target me? This brat is truly troublesome. In her thousands of years of life, it wasn't as if there had never been those who threatened her. But almost all of them were beings called sages or wicked beasts close to divine beasts like herself. The nine-tailed golden fox's eyes narrowed. Is it the influence of that being trapped within his mind? It didn't matter what it was. This brat was close to being a human who embodied the very essence of a demon, which she had been searching for all this time. Sting. At that moment, the nine-tailed golden fox frowned. After all, even though she thought she had blocked it properly, the tip of her tail had been nearly severed and was dangling loosely. Huh. In an instant, her eyes turned murderous. Not anywhere else, but he had sliced off a part, albeit a small one, of her tail, which was a concentration of her demonic energy. Her tail was a body part that angered her even if it was just scratched, but now that it had been cut, the nine-tailed golden fox's rage surged. Should I kill him? For a moment, even murderous intent arose within her. However, she quickly suppressed it. Endure it. If I kill him here, I won't know if he will become the existence that Kong Sang spoke of. She licked the dangling, severed part of her tail with her tongue. The blood from the wound quickly stopped. The nine-tailed golden fox completely tore off the severed portion of her tail. Then, her lips twitched. Come to think of it, for a young human who hasn't even lived for 20 years to already possess this much power, the possibility is indeed the highest. This fellow would grow stronger at a rapid pace. Then, her desire might be fulfilled before long. Keeping him by my side and continuously watching over. As she was thinking that, something flashed through her mind. It was because of something she had seen in Mok Jiangun's memories. Moreover, upon further thought, this fellow not only had exceptional innate talent but was also rapidly growing stronger due to his thirst for revenge. That meant there was a chance he might not become the form she desired even if she kept him by her side. Besides, he was already immensely evil from the beginning, even without being corrupted. Finally reaching a conclusion, the nine-tailed golden fox licked her lips. Ah! What a pity! She wanted to keep him by her side and enjoy him, but it seemed she would have to put that on hold. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. For a moment, I thought about just killing you, but let's stop here. Mok Jiangun, who had raised his guard to the extreme, looked at the nine-tailed golden fox with incomprehensible eyes. Chong Ryong was the same. The nine-tailed golden fox, the hundred-faced king, was a great spiritual beast close to a divine beast. If she desired, it was not only possible for her, who was called a moving calamity, to kill them but also turn this entire imperial capital into a sea of blood. To her, all of this was merely a form of amusement. That's how absolute the nine-tailed golden fox's power was, so when she suddenly suggested stopping as if on a whim, they couldn't help but feel puzzled. At that moment, the nine-tailed golden fox shrugged her shoulders and spoke. I was thinking of making you my plaything right away, but it seems unwise to pluck an unripe fruit. What do you mean? It's exactly as I said. I'm saying I'll leave you alone for the time being. Leave me alone? Yes. The nine-tailed golden fox glanced at the severed part of her tail and said. You're quite sharp to be able to cut my tail, but that's still far from enough. You mean to kill you? At Mok Jiangun's words, the nine-tailed golden fox burst into laughter, holding her stomach. Ha 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 ha. Kill me? Even using my demonic energy, you barely managed to slice off the tip of my tail, so isn't that too greedy of you? Mok Jayangan remained silent at her words. There was indeed a huge gap between the nine-tailed golden fox's power and his own. To her, he was probably nothing more than an insect at best. Since he was no match for her anyway, if she showed mercy, even if it was on a whim, he should gratefully accept it. However, the words the nine-tailed golden fox had said lingered in his mind. I'll leave you alone for the time being. It sounded like she would let him go for now but would continue to target him. No, somehow, it seemed like she would. Why? He couldn't understand why she was coveting him. You might be the very human embodiment of a demon that I've been searching for. Although she had said those words, he couldn't fully comprehend their meaning either. Meanwhile, the nine-tailed golden fox lightly gestured, and the clothing that had been pushed into the corner of Prince Jayanjan's residence flew over and put itself on her. Swish! With just a single gesture, her hair and pupils turned black again. With this, she had once again become Consort Ho, who boasted a radiant beauty. Mok Jayangan picked up the severed part of her tail that had fallen to the floor and held it out to her. Take it with you. At those words, Consort Ho smiled and said, I'm giving that to you. Giving it to me? Yes. Keep that well. I don't have a preference for carrying around such things. It would be good to carry it around. It will serve as proof that I've taken a liking to you. Ah. Is it because it's bothersome to carry it like that? Then. Swish. Consort Ho lightly waved her hand. The severed part of her tail transformed into a round medallion with golden fur attached to it. Isn't it convenient to carry it like this? If it's proof that you've taken a liking to me, it's even more uncomfortable to carry around. You're quite honest. But there's no harm in carrying that around. From what I've seen, you seem to get entangled with quite a few wicked beasts. It was difficult to deny those words. At some point, vengeful spirits and wicked beasts had started to get involved with him frequently. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say it had been since his eyes had opened. So keep it with you. Even if it's just a part of my tail, carrying it will prevent you from getting entangled with bothersome things. Even if it was a severed part of her body, traces and remnants of her demonic energy remained. If he possessed a part of her, known as the Hundred-Faced King, ordinary wicked beasts wouldn't be able to approach him, and even those with a certain level of power would naturally stay away from him. And if you have that, I can find you wherever you go. The nine-tailed golden fox inwardly smirked. Even if she didn't keep him by her side, with this method, she could meet him whenever she wanted. No matter how high-ranking a great spiritual beast was, if they deliberately hid in this vast Central Plains continent, it would be difficult to find them. Silently holding the medallion made from her tail, Mok Jayangan eventually put it inside his clothes. It wasn't because he accepted it out of genuine gratitude, but also because there was no benefit in provoking the nine-tailed golden fox at the moment. And if worst came to worst, he could just leave the imperial palace later. As if reading Mok Jayangan's true intentions, the nine-tailed golden fox smiled and said, If you get caught trying to discard it, be prepared to face the consequences. Understood? At her words, Mok Jayangan showed an annoyed expression. Regardless, the nine-tailed golden fox turned around without any lingering attachment, as if her business was done, and tried to leave Prince Jayanjan's residence. Is she really just leaving? Seeing this, Chong Ryang inwardly tried to feel relieved. But then, the nine-tailed golden fox stopped for a moment and spoke as if she had forgotten something. Ah, right. I put the embroidered uniform guards and the capital's guards outside to sleep. But can you handle the matters inside here on your own? At that question, Mok Jayangan glanced at the unconscious Prince Jayanjan and the beheaded corpse of the Western Depot's chief eunuch, Eunuch Ho. If Eunuch Ho had escalated the situation, it would have been different, but now that he was dead, they could handle it according to the original plan. However, just in case, he asked, If I say I can't handle it, will you help? No. Then why did you ask? Just because. You're not so stupid that you can't even handle this much. She had no intention of helping from the beginning. Since he didn't have much expectation, Mok Jae-un wasn't too disappointed. But then, the nine-tailed golden fox chuckled and said something unexpected as she left. That mark you were looking for. I think I've seen it somewhere. Mok Jae-un's eyes widened in an instant. It was a sudden remark, but since the nine-tailed golden fox had stolen a glimpse of his memories, he could immediately understand what those words meant. Although he had shown a calm and cold demeanor towards other things, at the mention of the mark, Mok Jae-un's eyes fiercely transformed. What do you mean by that? You understood, didn't you? Did you see it in my memories? That's right. I'm talking about the scar left on your dead grandfather's body. I've seen that somewhere. As soon as those words ended. Swish. Using the foot technique, Mok Jae-un instantly blocked the nine-tailed golden fox's path and spoke in a cold tone. Where did you see it? She grinned and said. Why are you curious? I'd be grateful if you could tell me. Gratitude alone isn't enough. As if slowly increasing the dosage, the nine-tailed golden fox put her hands behind her back and circled around Mok Jae-un. Looking at her, Mok Jae-un finally spoke. What do you want? At that question, the nine-tailed golden fox licked her finger stickily and said. Do you want to finish what we couldn't do earlier? If you satisfy me right here, I might tell you. Is that what you want? Yes. Then right now. Suddenly, Mok Jae-un couldn't finish his sentence and unconsciously glanced behind him. He saw Chong Ryan looking at him with a subtle gaze. Seeing that gaze, Mok Jae-un couldn't continue his words. If it was related to the mark left on his dead grandfather's body, he would stop at nothing to find clues. He hesitated even though he could obtain information just by engaging in relations once. Mok Jae-un questioned his own attitude. Why was he being conscious of Chong Ryan? He couldn't understand it at all. Then, Mok Jae-un finally opened his mouth. Let's forget about it. What? One of the nine-tailed golden fox's beautiful eyebrows rose. On the other hand, Chong Ryan's pupils, who had been looking at Mok Jae-un with a somewhat anxious gaze, flickered with surprise. Why? She could understand it because it was a matter involving an important clue, but for some reason, she had been feeling bitter. But at Mok Jae-un's unexpected refusal, her mood became strange. Tisk. The nine-tailed golden fox clicked her tongue with an incredulous expression and said. This hurts my pride. What? In all my life, I've been rejected because of a mere vengeful spirit. What are you talking about? Never mind. I've lost all desire to do it anyway. Humph. With those words, the nine-tailed golden fox stomped her feet angrily and left Prince Jeongjin's residence. Mok Jae-un momentarily thought about stopping her but eventually lowered his slightly raised hand. Since he had already given up himself, what good would it do to stop her? He didn't dwell on things that had already ended, so Mok Jae-un also turned around to go to where Chong Ryan was. But then, a voice was heard. Among the embroidered uniform guards in the inner court, there is someone with that mark. It was the nine-tailed golden fox's voice. Mok Jae-un looked at the door she had left through with puzzled eyes. Then, through the half-closed door, she poked her head out and said. I was about to leave, but just this once, I'm making a special concession. The medallion I gave you made from my tail, never take it off your body. I won't. That wasn't difficult at all. At Mok Jae-un's answer, the nine-tailed golden fox snorted and closed the door with these words. Humph. See you again. Heavenly demon.